Hello and welcome to Mad Al Goes Racing, and this is a very short, probably, video on the changelog for version 1.1.4.0 to version 1.1.4.5 in Mirillis 2, as you might have guessed from the fact it's sitting on the screen here. Right, let's start with general and fixed custom livery overrides not respecting duplicate livery rules. So that's for making sure you don't get duplicate liveries in certain races. Presumably if you use a custom you'll be able to have duplicates if you want them, but that should stop that. Adjusted crowd stroke character visibility in various game modes and session types. So what should happen is for a practice session you should have fewer people in the crowd and then qualifying a few more, and then for the race lots. Fixed issue where only a lot B of some meshes would hide based on the session type. Presumably that's because some of the spectators weren't disappearing as they should have done, presumably, when it's a session type. So small fix to the G923 initialization. Added game launch option. Stop scrolling up and down, you brat. Command line switch disable TF for users with issues running Logitech G923 True Force to fall back to legacy mode. Now, in case anybody doesn't know where to put that and how to do it, here's a short instructional video. Right, how to add the disabled TF? You just, in your Steam library, look in your library, scroll up until, or down until you find Automotive Lister 2, do a right click, do properties. That'll bring up the Automotive Lister properties page. Under general you want launch options, and you just type in here -disable TF, and then just click on the close button, and that literally is all you need to do. Right, now that I've told you how to do that, you all know there are lots of other things you can put in there that will do various things, most of which I think you can now override in the user interface. Things like borderless mode for Windows and things like that. I think there's a window borderless mode in the UI. I'll have to check. But as there is no additional content, what I thought I'll do is, whilst I'm reading the rest of this, I will put up a replay of a race I had the other day, and as you can see this thing's still going there. Your gallery is full. That's because I've got about 132 replays in here. This is an online race we had the other day in a small league, which is going to be 4 rounds in the Geneta G40 Cup cars, and this was the slightly more successful second race. The first one was an absolute pain in the bum. Right, as you can see I started off 14th, so if I go to here and hide that, you can watch me going round whilst I'm talking bollocks. UI and HUD, fixed onboard roll bars and brake bias, both showing brake bias value on vehicle browser. Fixed punctuation on some loading screen tips, plus some small German string tweaks. Fixed clipping on HUD warning message. Added extra batch of loading screen tips. Corrected various inaccuracies in vehicle information. Physics and FFB. Adjusted rear wing base drag for F1 prototype and GT cars. Adjusted mini JCW tyre tread. Adjusted centre of gravity height for Group A, Pro Car, Mini and Porsche Cup. Camaro SS, adjusted brake torque and centre of gravity height. Rocco 001, adjusted chassis inertia and unsprung mass. Reduced brake fade range when under optimal temperature range for all cars. That's hopefully going to mean there's a little less problems with cold brakes, hopefully. So before your brakes are warmed up, I think that's what they mean by brake fade range, because that doesn't actually make sense, because brake fade is normally when you get overheating, not underheating. But enabled onboard adjustable brake bias for the MCR 2000. Slightly reduced FFB resistance when car is stopped. AI, increased AI qualifying pace. Increased AI prudence against human players. Why is it whenever I hear that word prudence I think of one of two things? It's either Gordon Brown with his prudence crap before he threw all our money away, or Susie and the Banshees with Dear Prudence, which was one of the few covers of a Beatle number that actually did better than the original. Bizarre but true. Where was I? I've lost my place. Calibrated AI rolling resistance for that's his R Retro, I think it should say F Retro Gen 1 and Gen 2. Reduced minimal AI strength range results in slightly slower AI in the 70 to 99 range. Adjusted AI grip multipliers in Donington and Bathurst. Silverstone 2020, 2001 and 1991. Adjusted AI performance at Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Presumably they were either too slow or too fast, so hopefully they're now a bit closer to a real person. Imola, adjusted AI performance at Tosa, second Aqua Minerale leg, and Variante Alta. Tracks, Silverstone added outer terrain to all track detail levels, fixed unsafe pit exit error in modern layout. Montreal added missing DRS Zone 2 line, fixed floating walls, updated live grass texture and a performance pass. Hockenheim 1988 short, fixed missing CSM curbs, remove unwanted fence bit at turn 3, and lastly, vehicles, added liveries for driver helmets and suits. Not 100% sure what that means, but I assume that means they've updated some helmets and suits, so there's a bit more than just black. Camaro SS fixed obstructed rear view looking back from cockpit. Formula Ultimate 2019 disabled DRS light until functionality is implemented. And that, dear reader, is the 1.1.4.5 update. Now there is supposed to be another update soonish, which presumably is the May update, because this was actually another complimentary update for the follow-up to the 1.1.4.0. 1.1.5 should be coming out soonish. In fact, they did say that there may be a beta update sort of today-ish. I don't know what it's going to bring. It should be some more interesting stuff, but it's coming along quite nicely. I did have a play with the AI the other day, and they seem to be behaving themselves quite nicely. Possibly better than some of the people in this particular race who managed to go all over the place on the first lap and somehow allowed me to go from 14th to 3rd. Rest of the race wasn't quite as good, and I ended up back in 6th, having a bit of a weird moment where for some reason the car just snapped a bit sideways into the first corner about 3 laps from the end, letting through the person who's now behind me, yeah, that was a weird one, who had been following me for several laps, and I was holding off quite nicely. It's always annoying when the car just does something weird, you can't work out why it did it, and you end up losing some places, or a place in this case, because it takes about 7 seconds to get through the kitty litter and off the grass, so which is darned annoying, but shit happens, can't win them all. Well, in my case I don't win very many at all, but there you go. But like I said, I ended up 6th in that one, which was not so bad, so not a bad result. Now I'd better go and do a bit of practice for races tomorrow, as I somehow managed to double book myself, so I'm going to be doing a bit of ACC overlapped with a bit of AMS2, so I'll better get practicing because it's the V10s, which I think will be great fun. So from me, for now, have fun, enjoy racing, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye, and blimey, less than 10 minutes. You'll have plenty of time to do other things now that you've watched it, so see you soon.